Speaking about the UPND, we've seen that they did form an alliance. Now they're calling it the UPND Alliance. And in the past, we've seen the coming together of multiple political parties to form some of these alliances. If I remember quite well, the UPND at some point did form an alliance with the Patriotic Front when they were trying to, take out the then ruling MMD, also the UDA, way back, I think around the 2000s, 2006, which consisted of three political parties. But now we have seen that this alliance hasn't broken down, because as we get closer and closer to the elections, you find that there is a breakdown in talks, or, the joining of political parties. But what do you make of having to get to see an alliance actually get through an election, even become the victor in an election?
I think for me that was a positive development. Like I mentioned, political competition is not a game for its own purpose. It should be connected towards helping a country come up with political groupings that can provide alternatives in terms of governance and development. So when you see especially different political parties come together and have a common goal, that is to win an election for the purpose of contributing to better democratic governance and development of that country, for me that was very, very important. The second reason is that definitely we have learned from the past, like you mentioned. Usually the efforts that have been made to create alliances cripple just at the very important moment of holding together, and usually as a result of just different positions over who holds which kind of power. But I think based on the lessons learned, this time the political participants in the alliance, I want to believe, were very clear with what they were looking for. And in my view, they were also clear with their different capabilities. They were also very clear with who had what kind of opportunity. So once you base your alliance on realities on the ground and also opportunities before you, it makes it easy for that alliance to keep together. But if you jump into an alliance with divergent interests, expectations and ideas, then it easily breaks. So this is the demonstration that they showed us. But I also want to believe there was strategic leadership provided within that alliance.
Mm-hmm. Well, away from the presidential level, we've also seen that the UPND did tremendously well when it comes to parliamentary level. We've seen that they've taken up more than half of the constituencies, not so much going to the independent candidates and the outgoing Patriotic Front. But what do you make of this transition, this sort of change where we've seen that not only have the UPND taken up the presidency, but even more than half of the constituencies?
I think based on the election outcome, the fact is people wanted change, and they knew where they wanted to direct their next attention to, which was, according to the public and the electorates, it was time to vote for UPND to take over. This is why, in my view, if you look at the performance of UPND, it really has gone beyond the traditional expectations of regional voting. And if you also look at, like you said, wherever UPND participated or contested, you could tell that in terms of public perception, they performed very well. So without wasting much time, the election results are showing that people decided it was time to change, and in that change, it was time to elect UPND at various levels.